Here's a final overview of my inverter installation project. Got the Victron Multiplus 2000 here. Transfer switch is right there. That transfer switch was original equipment in the truck camper. It's there because I have a generator, so that selects between shore power and generator power. This cover, I had to remove that to reroute this propane line, and then also I ran some cabling down through there. So I had mentioned this cover in an earlier video, so I've got the cover reinstalled, and then on each place where the propane line goes through, I got all of that sealed back up. I did rearrange some of my wires down here. I may have relocated the shunt from where it was in my previous video, but then over here this has been rearranged. I had coiled up my generator start cables here. They were really long and I wanted to clean all that up. So I also relocated this power distribution post. That's my negative power bus. The only reason I have that big terminal post is because there was too many battery cables to fit on the shunt. It was back here in the corner. So the idea here was to just move this over, make better use of this cable, tuck that cable back up against the battery box, and then my generator cable, let's see, that's the big red one right there, and my negative one connected over here. So all of that excess cable from the generator starter was coiled up here. So what I did was pull that down in through this little wire access compartment, and you can kind of probably see some of that excess cable all stuffed back up inside of there. That's some of it zip tied right there. This is looking in the cabinet under the sink, and that's a new fuse box and extra cabling there. Those wires that aren't connected, that's for my solar controller, which I have not upgraded yet. This is the back side of my new monitoring panel. I've got a Victron BMV712, that device there with the clamp holding it in. That's my color controlled GX by Victron. I have a new power outlet and a switch way over there on the far side. And this guy here is the back of my tank monitor system. And then those two devices over there are original. That's a 120 volt AC outlet and a switch for the 120 volt side of the water heater. And this little device right there is my VE bus smart dongle that lets my Victron inverter be controlled through Bluetooth app on my phone. So this is looking at the front of the monitor panel. Color control GX, Victron BMV712, and right here that's just a blank plug over a hole. I'll put something there eventually. 12 volt outlet. This is a switch that controls a light over the sink. It's that light right there. And back here is a Victron Orion TR Smart 12 volt to 12 volt 30 amp DC to DC charger. So that's going to take power from my truck charging system and then give a smart charge to my lithium batteries. And that big black enclosure, that's the battery box right there. And here's a close-up of the shunt. Inverter negative cable, battery cable that goes to my DC to DC charger. This goes to my negative power distribution post, and then this cable goes from the battery side of the shunt up to my negative battery cable connection inside the battery box. Wiring up a shunt seems to throw people for a loop quite a bit of the time because it's really confusing to how the shunt needs to be wired. But the simplest way of looking at it is this. You've got two sides to the shunt. One is the battery side of the shunt, which goes from the shunt to the negative post of your battery, and then the other side of the shunt is the load side of the shunt. So everything else connects to the load side of the shunt. Another way of looking at it is everything that used to be connected to your negative battery post, aside from a battery interconnect cable, will then get relocated to the load side of the shunt, and then you should only have one cable connected from the battery side of the shunt, and that's an interconnect cable that goes from the battery side of the shunt up to the negative post of the battery. This is looking inside of my battery box. So back here you can see I have a big gigantic 300 amp fuse. So that big cable right there, that's from the inverter that connects to the fuse, and then another cable connects from the fuse up to the battery post. I have my batteries cross-connected, so what that means is you've got two batteries together, and your negative cable connects to the negative post of one battery, and then your positive cable then connects to the positive post of the opposite battery. During the time that I was installing this inverter, I made a whole series of videos, so be sure to check out those links. I'll have them scattered around here on the screen, and then also be sure to subscribe and then hit the notify button so you get a notification when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching.